Thank you all so much for coming and welcome to this most momentous occasion as we search for Maricopa's next Chancellor. Thank you again for attending and participating in the public forum. Our purpose today is to learn more about the final candidate for the position of Chancellor. This forum, along with a student question and answer session, interviews with members of the Chancellor's Executive Council, which consists of college presidents and vice chancellors, as well as interviews with members of the Chancellor's Community Advisory Council, which consists of various community members, along with a session with members from the Maricopa Community Colleges Foundation Board, and final interviews with governing board members are the next steps in the search process for the new Chancellor. I would like to review the format and the ground rules of this public forum. The forum is scheduled for 60 minutes. This was a nationwide search that was conducted, and Dr. Harper Marinick emerged as the finalist. So again, we're very excited for reaching this point in time in the selection process. The finalist will be given 5 to 7 minutes to introduce herself and explain her background that has prepared her for the role of Chancellor. I will then ask 5 questions which support topics of interest based on survey responses collected early in the search process. I will then ask for questions from audience members, time permitting. Please stand in line at one of the microphones that you see before you if you wish to ask a question, and again, should time permit. We are video streaming the public forum, so the finalist is limited to a certain area on stage. Microphones will be available to ensure all hear the questions. If you are attending via live stream, you may submit questions to chancellorsearch@domail.maricopa.edu. The link is available on the public forum website as well. As time runs out, I will ask the finalist if she wishes to make closing remarks for 2 to 3 minutes. Our timekeeper for this session will signal the candidate to help us stay on track. Please ask respectful questions and behave in a respectful manner and courteous manner at all times. Observers in the audience may come and go. If you do, please do so quietly. Please also remember to silence your cell phones. The purpose of the public forum is to get to know the finalist a bit better and to solicit your input about the finalist. The finalist bio, along with a link to the feedback form, has been passed out to you as you arrived. For those viewing remotely, the feedback link is www.maricopa.edu, finalist feedback. Please be sure to complete the form online. The form is compatible with mobile devices. The information that you provide on the form is confidential. If you prefer to complete the form in paper format, please see the HR representative at the back of the room. All feedback comments will be collected and then provided to the governing board for their review and consideration. Thank you again for attending this public forum. At this time, I would like to invite Dr. Maria Harper Marinick to begin by introducing herself and explain her background that has prepared her for the role of Chancellor, particularly during a time of tremendous challenges. Dr. Harper Marinick.
Thank you, Vice Chancellor Shilton Johnson, and thank you, I need water, all of you for taking the time to be here today. That means that you care about our system, our students, and how we lead the system moving forward. So I know there's someone keeping time. They have me all structured today. So let me start with some comments to respond specifically to Ms. Shilton Johnson's question. And I have been part of the Maricopa system for 25 years. I have invested my professional life, really, to the system. I have always been committed, strongly committed, and without wavering, ever doubting my commitment to access to quality education and programs and to student success. I think many of you know that. I have had responsibilities for the system since '91 when I started. I started at the Maricopa Center for Learning and Instruction, where I did work with some of our fantastic, talented faculty members for about 12 years. And then in 2005, I became Vice Chancellor for Academic Affairs, and then got other responsibilities along the way. In 2010, I became the Executive Vice Chancellor and Provost, and then Interim Chancellor since March 1st of this year. That's my path. I have chosen a life of service in the Maricopa system because I believe that my personal and professional values and the way that I live my life are well aligned with what community colleges exist, the reason for being for community colleges. So I'm going to read a quote from the Truman Commission for Higher Ed that was stated in 1947, and that is what gave birth to community colleges as we know them today. Because this is what I believe in, this is why I get up in the morning and go to work. And it is to provide equal opportunity for all persons to the maximum of their individual abilities and without regard to economic status, race, creed, color, sex, national origin, or ancestry. I also believe that my personal values are well aligned with some of the Maricopa core values, and specifically the values of respect, honesty, responsibility, fairness, caring, and freedom. I believe that I have modeled the way as a leader by always speaking truthfully, directly, and candidly. I have acted with integrity at all times since the first day I came to Maricopa, October 1st, 1991. I have expected excellence and accountability from everyone at all levels of the system, and that actually begins with myself. I have demonstrated stewardship of public resources. I have run very efficient units, departments, and division. I have always attempted to treat all people equitably and with dignity. I respect and I practice shared governance, academic freedom, and the free and respectful exchange of views. I do not fear conflict. I have encouraged innovation, risk-taking, and creativity, and my work in the MCLI for 12 years is a good illustration of that. I try to listen always to others, seeking to understand who they are and what is the story behind the person and the face. I believe I am a system thinker, I am a relationship builder, and I am a connector. Maricopa is a system for which I care deeply, and the system is the people, many of us in this room. I understand the culture well because I've been with the system for 25 years. So if anybody knows what changes should be made, and that would be me. And I would welcome the privilege of leading Maricopa to the next phase of its evolution. I know the past has to be honored. I am part of that past. But a new vision for the system needs to be set forth. Our system exists today in a very different climate than when the system was established in 1962. Change has happened everywhere, and change needs to happen in the Maricopa system. We know that we have declining resources, we have higher levels of accountability, and we certainly have expectations to meet the needs of the diverse communities we serve in new and different ways. So I believe the Chancellor needs to set a new vision while maintaining momentum for many of the initiatives that we have started, even though some of them, I believe, need to be accelerated a bit. Systemic changes that are in place are what's better for the students because they were made in a very thoughtful manner by many of us in this room. I believe I am that person. I believe I have the passion, I have the drive, I have the courage, and I have the commitment to serve that I believe would be required for success. I want to be the reformer of current practices. I want to be the restorer of public confidence. I want to be the rebuilder of stewardship and the re-energizer of all the people in the system. And with that, I hope to unify the system and to focus all the energy in the key strategies, keeping in mind why we exist, and that is to serve our community, providing access to high-quality programs and services that can help our students get an education that would lead to better employment and help all our students achieve financial independence. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Harper-Marinick. And now for our first topic. The question is in the realm of communication, interpersonal, and relationship building skills. Specifically, please describe your leadership philosophy and how you will inspire the workforce to move the institution forward. Also discuss how you will influence external partners critical to Maricopa's success.
Thank you. I think I shared a little bit of what my leadership philosophy is, but I'll repeat some of the things. I believe in open, direct, and honest communication, frequent communication at all times. I believe that's the only way for people to get together and keep the focus where it needs to be. I believe that the leader needs to provide a vision and direction, and then clear and high expectations for all people, and then set clear levels of accountability, and I mean for everybody in the system, beginning with the Chancellor's office. I also believe in recognizing the good work that happens and celebrating what needs to be celebrated, and then with honesty, acknowledging the things that need to be changed. And that's what I am, a data-informed decision maker. I am a quick decision maker, but not a thoughtless decision maker. Sometimes it appears that I'm making a decision fairly fast, but I usually take lots of time to be reflective and look at information. I am a learner, I am a researcher by training, so I like to look at all kinds of data, quantitative and qualitative, before making a decision. I also believe in collaboration, and I believe in inclusiveness. I think that to make the right decisions for the system, we need to have all the voices at the table. So I believe and I practice inclusiveness. And I'm also an action-oriented person. Some may say a little impatient when things are not moving at the pace that they should be moving. But I don't think that's necessarily a bad thing. So how I would bring others, what's the second part of the question? Where is my moderator?
The second part of the question is also discuss, please, how you will influence, how you will influence external partners critical to Maricopa's success.
Thank you. I think what's most important for all of us is to be focused on our mission. We need to maintain anything that is mission critical to the system. We don't have the abundant resources that we had in the past, so we need to be very responsible in the things that we choose to do as a system. So I would bring people along the way by reminding them why we exist and why we do the work that we do, and obviously for whom we do it. I said earlier that I am a relationship builder. I believe in reaching out to people, and were I to be the Chancellor of the Maricopa system, I would certainly take time, especially towards the beginning of the tenure, to reach out to critical, key business partners in the community. I want Maricopa to be top of mind. I want to make sure that when a business owner is making a decision of where to go for training for their employees, the first thought is, I need to call the Maricopa colleges and give us an opportunity to provide that service. I think it's important to keep the input from the business community at two levels. One level happens already at the colleges, so maybe we can do it better, but it happens. And that is, for every occupational program that we offer, the colleges have advisory councils, people from business and industry who provide input that leads to changes in curriculum. We want to make sure that we have updated information that we teach our students. But I also believe that there needs to be a certain level of input at the system level. So I would convene a group of experts from multiple areas of our business community to make sure that we understand what is the need for the community that we are not meeting or need to meet a little differently. So reaching out, building the relationships, reminding people of why we exist and what we do and all of the things that we offer and all of the great talent that we have in the system is part of what I would think would be one of my main responsibilities as the Chancellor of this wonderful system.
Thank you. Our next topic area is on transparency and fairness. The question is, we talk about fairness and transparency in all aspects of our system. how will you deal with assessing and evaluating our initiatives, partnerships, and funding? Include how you plan to communicate and implement initiatives knowing that you will not be able to please everyone's specific need or passion.
I know that already. I think I mentioned a little bit of that. I think that we need to be honest with ourselves and evaluate all of the initiatives that we have in place and the programs that we have in place. Assessment and evaluation is a healthy activity of any institution, so we should be regularly collecting data to inform the decisions I make. And by definition, data is open and transparent and shared. So I don't think that any of the activities that would lead to changes in programs and services should be a secret or should be something that only the Chancellor does or only the Chancellor knows, because the Chancellor alone cannot lead the system. The system is all the people, all of you, some of you who are here, and those who are not here. So I think the key to transparency is regular communication, and regular communication to all people, and honesty in that communication. And then I think the partner word to transparency is also accountability. So when we say that we're doing certain things, then the question I would ask, how do you know? And the how do you know leads back to what kinds of data are you looking at, and how do you make that decision? And quite frankly, if that leads to changes need to be made, including elimination of programs and services, then we need to have the courage to do that, because we are not in the business of perpetuating things, right? Just because we've been doing them for 20 years. We are in the business of being responsive and responsible to our multiple communities, and I think there is a need to be transparent about that. I don't think there's any secret in the work, or should be, in the work that we do. Was there another part of the multi-part question? They gave me the questions, but they're tiny font. Oh yeah, not be able to please everyone's specific need or passion. I think that if we maintain, as I said earlier, the focus on the mission, what it is that we're supposed to be doing as colleges, then if there is someone who doesn't believe in the mission, or if there is someone who doesn't like decisions that are supportive of the mission, then someone needs to make a decision. Either you are part of the institution and the change that is necessary, or you're not. I don't think anyone is obligated to like anyone or anything, but if we are doing what we believe is the right thing to do for our students and our community, then we need to have the courage to stay the course, even if some people may not be happy about it. That's what happens. Doesn't matter what decision you make. You make a decision in the morning, half of the people like it, half of the people do not. You make another decision in the afternoon, the half who didn't like you now like you, and the other half doesn't like you anymore. So that's just how it goes with the job.
Thank you, Dr. Harper-Marinick. The next topic is on diversity. Specifically, please describe applicable initiatives or experiences that demonstrate your ability to serve students, including underserved populations, which sets you apart from others.
I was reflecting on such a question earlier, and kind of going back to my 25 years and all of the things that we've done as a system to make sure that our value of inclusiveness is demonstrated through the actions in the system. So there are many programs that I've either been co-creator, developer, funder, and I usually say I am the bank for many of the initiatives, championed certainly. So I'll mention a few of those. I think many of us are familiar with achieving a college education. We call that ACE. What many of you may not know is that in 1986, when I was a graduate student at Arizona State, ACE was created, and I was the doctoral student who worked with Liz Warren and Nancy Jordan to actually create ACE. And now you move forward all those years, and I am providing supervision for that. I had responsibility for taking our Hoop of Learning program, that is supporting our Native American students and Indian American communities, American Indian communities, and at the time it used to be 2, 3 colleges, and then the charge I had was to make sure that that program was supporting all students in the county who needed the services, so we've done that. I've had responsibility for all of the early college programs, ensuring that all those programs were open to any student of any background and not just for some elite students. We initiated the minority male and minority female initiatives. The minority male is now known as MEN, is the Male Empowerment Network, and our female initiative is called Women Rising, and that was supported. I've been a mentor and a supporter of the Women's Leadership Group and the Women's Mentoring Program, and then I was instrumental in putting forth the goals that led to the creation of the veteran centers at the colleges and the one-stop space for veterans. That's a goal that we set back in 2007. And then my work with faculty in the MCLI was designing many of the professional development opportunities. So learning grants, the dialogue days, the work on scholarship of teaching and learning, all of the things were to help faculty understand how to address the needs of diverse students. We had the Faculty of Color Recruitment and Retention Committee, and I was part of that for many years, and also developing the cultural competence series of workshops that we have offered for faculty. So I could go on and on and on. So my commitment to the diversity is not just from words, is that I believe is being reflected in the work I have done and how I have behaved in the system as a leader. I believe I have probably, when I was the executive vice chancellor and provost, I am almost sure that I have the most diverse division that I was leading, that was representative of diversity in the broad sense of that word, not just ethnic diversity. So it is unwavering commitment to being inclusive and inclusive of all people.
Thank you. The next topic area is on student success and commitment to faculty and staff. Specifically, what do you believe is essential to the success of the student's classroom experience? And what influence does the role of the chancellor have on student success?
Well, let me start by saying I don't believe that the only person responsible for student success is the chancellor of the system. I think student success is the responsibility of everyone, every single person in the institution. But there are some things the chancellor can do, obviously, to support that. I think the first is because the part of the question is very specific to classroom, and that's the purview of the faculty. So I think what the chancellor needs to ensure is that the faculty that we hire, because we set policies to accomplish that, are competent, motivated, innovative, and engaged and respectful of our students. Faculty who believe that every single student in the classroom has the capacity to learn and to grow and to develop as a person. So what do faculty need? They need resources once they get hired, and they need the right environment of respect and obviously academic freedom so that they can do their jobs in the classroom or outside of the classroom. We also need support services because just going to class is not enough for most of our students, so we need to make sure that the students feel welcomed, they feel supported, they have access to tutoring and all kinds of support services, and that they believe they are coming to a safe environment when they come to the colleges. So what can the chancellor do? I think the job of the chancellor, number one, is to work with the governing board to develop a policy that is supportive of the good work that needs to happen in the classroom. We do not want the policies to be the barrier of student success, but actually be the avenues for us to implement the right strategies that lead to student success. I believe that the chancellor can encourage innovation and risk-taking and creativity, and support all levels of professional development, not only for faculty members, but also for support staff. And I believe the Chancellor is responsible for setting an accountability system that leads to identifying what goals we're meeting, achieving, what we are not, and what are we going to do about it. And again, that leads back to the need for data. I also believe the job of the Chancellor to celebrate often and the good work that is happening. This is not a broken system. If this system was not functioning well, we wouldn't have hundreds of thousands of students coming to us every year. But can we do better? Of course we can do better. So I think the job of the Chancellor is to set that direction for what needs to get done so that the system moves in a new direction, even if that is making bold, courageous decisions that, as the question before indicated, some people may not like. So I think basically that the Chancellor is at the policy level, resource level, motivation, recognition, and setting a direction for the system that is clearly communicating that our main priority is the students, and clearly the students and their success. I was, right before I came here, I was at Estrella Mountain Community College talking to students from all of the colleges. It was very energizing, and I got pretty tough questions from the students. But one of the things that I reminded them is that they are the business. So if we didn't have students, and if the students do not feel welcomed, safe, and that they're getting a high-quality education, then we need to close the doors. So I think the job of the Chancellor is to make sure that the students, the learning environment is conducive to success, so that the students feel that when they come to us, they're here to achieve a goal, and we're here to facilitate that goal. So that's what I believe the role of the Chancellor. Now, what happens in the actual classroom, there are some faculty members in the audience, so that's your responsibility to make sure that you are ready to teach the students, and then the students own, obviously, a piece of student success, because if the student do not own their own learning and put the effort into learning, then it's not going to happen. So policy, resources, support, celebration, accountability.
Thank you. And now for our final question related to a specific topic area. After this, we'll open it up for audience questions. The topic is on community partnerships. What is your vision to provide the necessary training infrastructure to build and serve our workforce partnership? And how would you go about forecasting the skills needed and develop the strategies necessary to support the communities we serve?
She loves the multi-part questions. I'm not sure that we do not have the structure in place to provide to our community and the business community in particular what the business community wants, because we have certainly curriculum in place, we have talented, committed, dedicated faculty in our system, we have dedicated administrators and occupational program directors. So I think the question is not necessarily about how we set up a structure, is maybe how do we do things differently, or how do we embrace doing new things, because again, we're not starting with a blank canvas. So what I believe the Chancellor needs to do is a direct link to the business community, in this case, you know, our, as one of three, what I believe, three primary partners. So the business community is one of them. I said earlier, I would believe, if were I to be the Chancellor, that I would need to spend significant time connecting individually with business leaders to better understand what they believe are needs that we haven't met, or to celebrate the things that we're doing right. The other group of partners that's very critical to us is the universities, because I think most of us know that many of the jobs now and in the future may require a baccalaureate degree. So it is critical for the Maricopa colleges to have a very strong partnership and relationship with the baccalaureate granting institutions, public and private universities in town. And I have done quite a bit of that in my former roles. I think many of you know, as the Chief Academic Officer, I had responsibility for transfer, and I was one of the co-creators of the MAP program with ASU, which is Maricopa ASU Pathways Program, MAPP, which is now a national model for other institutions to emulate. So we need to continue to do that. And the third group of partners that I believe we need to cultivate and perhaps strengthen relationship with is the K-12 system, and more specifically, the high schools, because that's where the pipeline begins to develop. And I believe as a community, we need to communicate to those students that their goal is not just to complete high school and then complete community college and then perhaps move to a university or job. They need to see that vision from early on, that high school is not the end of anything. That's what I tell my own daughter and son. It's not the end of anything. It's just a good step that you have accomplished, but it's actually the beginning of the rest of your life. And we need to make that clear to all of the students. So how we do that, we can't do that alone because we are not part of the K-12 system and they don't report to us. So we need to work with them and have some important conversations about what we can do together, not to be critical of what they do, because great work is going on in the K-12 systems today, but how can we do something different together that is beneficial to the students, and how do we then move the students through the community colleges? And what I would love to see is that we have very specific targets to improve students' retention. We're doing much better now than we were doing 10 years ago, but I believe we still do not have enough students committed to staying and completing a degree. And as I told the students earlier today, if all you have is a collection of courses and a collection of credits, that doesn't lead to a job necessarily, because they're going to say, well, what did you complete? So you have to have achieved, right, that diploma, that piece of paper. So that connection is important. The business community, because a strong component of our mission is workforce development. We can't do workforce development alone either. We need to have a clear understanding of how to serve, as I said already multiple times, the needs of the business community. And then again, the universities, we have great programs in place. We have, as I said, nationally renowned articulation and pathways, and I believe we still do not have enough students completing who come to us and say, I'm here because I intend to transfer. When you look at the data of how many of them actually accomplish that, I don't think is good enough, even though right now is probably over 10,000 students a year. But in the magnitude of what we do as a system, I think we need to do that better. And again, all of that we can't do by ourselves. We need the will, we need the cooperation, and we need the support of all of the partners in the three sectors that I mentioned. Oh, I know, there was another part of the question. Do I have more time? She told me to stop. Let me say one thing. Because it had to do with forecasting and developing strategies. So we do that now. Chancellor is not a magician in an office coming up with forecasting and things to do. We have really good systems in place to look at labor market data. We are part of all of the key boards in town and the key groups that are doing work to educate students and develop a workforce. So we need to make better use, perhaps, of the data. We need to communicate better and broader that we do have that information, and then more importantly, what do we do with it? And then at the end of the day, is it working or not working? And if we say we're doing a great job, then I would ask the question, how do you know? Thank you, I'm done.
Hey, thank you, Dr. Harper-Marinick. As I mentioned, that was the last specific forum topic that we had. So now we'll open it up for questions from the audience. We do also have the opportunity to receive questions online. So if anyone has any questions, please just walk up to one of the microphones, and we will also periodically check in online to see if we've received any questions. Have we received any? Streaming? Okay. Please.
Hello, how you doing?
Oh, how are you?
Okay, my name is Richard. I am currently a student at South Mountain Community College.
Richard, can you get a little closer to the mic so I can hear you?
Can you hear me? Oh, I can hear me. Okay. My name is Richard, and I'm a student at South Mountain Community College. So I jotted down a few things that you talked about. Great systems, great programs, and I think you mentioned, like, you know, a lot of students. I am a part of a lot of clubs, at least 4 clubs, and there seems to be a culture that's really not inclusive of student ideals. You spoke of community, and one of the things that a band of students that I work with, we really reach out to the community, and we try to do it through the clubs so we can connect that directly to the school. Yes. But some of these policies, really not an issue with the policies, it's how those policies are interpreted, and it really creates a roadblock for the students. Mm-hmm. As of now, some of the things is we have a decline in enrollments. You mentioned that. As of now, you have South and Rio right now that are facing issues with financial aid because you have over 30% students that are in default. So in a few years, they may actually lose that financial aid. With you in the position that you are in, what do you actually plan on doing that allows students to be more inclusive, to have more of a voice, and to actually, if we find that there's an issue, not so much in the policies, but how the policies are interpreted, for us to actually take action to the source of the issue?
Thank you for that question, Richard. When I use the word community, it's a very inclusive word. I mean everybody, so it wasn't leaving out the students. But I think, as I told the students earlier today, the group that I addressed, I had a similar question. And I said, if you have an idea, if you have a complaint, if you have a question, I invite you to speak up. And you are at the college, there are all kinds of people at the college. It could be faculty members, it could be the administration, it could be a dean, it could be an advisor, it could be a counselor. But what wouldn't help us is not to know what's going on, right? So I think students need to feel, and I hope you do feel at the colleges, that you have the support to speak up and do the same things that I was mentioning I do, which is be candid and be honest with that feedback. We're here to serve you. If something is not working, we better address that, because it doesn't help you, it doesn't help any of us in the Maricopa colleges to leave problems unsolved. So we need to do that. Maybe the clubs, that's an avenue for that, but I wouldn't say limit it to the clubs. I would say feel confident and comfortable reaching out to anyone at the college to do that. What I told the students today too is, I do read my own emails, and I say, you can have my email, and if you have anything to ask or say, you can reach out. And I will take it seriously. And in terms of the default, we have taken action already to help the 2 colleges specifically. As you said, they're a little closer to the red line than other colleges. So we already have a team working on that, including making hundreds of phone calls to students to help them with, to solve the issues. Thank you, Richard.
Dr. Marinik, thank you. My name is Darren. I'm a student here at Phoenix College. In a few weeks, I'll be a Phoenix College alum. Go Bears. One of the missions of the Phoenix College alum is to preserve the richness of the heritage here at Phoenix College. So I'm curious what I hear the direction that Maricopa is moving is to eventually become Maricopa Community College with a universal logo, and this would be Maricopa Community College / Phoenix location. How would that impact the Phoenix College Alumni Association?
Thank you for that question. I think so 2 things in way of responding to that. We have been working to become a stronger system instead of just a collection of individual colleges, because the strength of what we do will come from the collective effort. So that's why we're doing that. We want to make sure that the services that you get at Phoenix College, Richard can get at South Mountain, and so on. In terms of the logo has acknowledgement of both. It has acknowledgement that there is a system And the latest iteration of the logo has the college name on top, and the Maricopa College is in the bottom, and then the color of the college, I know for Phoenix College is blue, is preserved. There is no attempt, it's impossible to say we're going to make all the colleges the same. That's not going to happen, because the college culture is created by the people who come to the college, and each college has a separate population. So there's no attempt or desire to say we're going to be all the same, but what we want to do is make sure the level of service is the same. Doesn't matter what college you go to, you can expect excellent service, and you can expect that if you're enrolling in more than one college, that activity is not as difficult as it is today. So that's what it is. It's improving a lot of the business processes. It's not to take away the identity of the colleges, especially not a college like this one, which is about 95 now, I think, close. Thank you for what you do for the Alumni Association. I believe it's one of the strongest in the Maricopa system.
Thank you, Dr. Harper-Merrick. My name is Peter Zawicki. I'm faculty
Peter.
at Gateway Community College. And it's my understanding that currently Rio Salado College is the only college in the Maricopa system that is participating in the state authorization reciprocity agreement, which allows the college to offer online classes to out-of-state students who live in SARA participating states. It's also my understanding that other colleges in the Maricopa system have an interest in also participating in SARA to potentially attract students to programs and classes that are unique to those individual colleges, but currently these colleges have not been allowed to join SARA. All of the major universities in Arizona and several other community colleges in Arizona are listed as approved SARA institutions, including Cochise, Central Arizona, and Yavapai colleges, as well as Pima Community College. What is your vision for the future participation of all the colleges in the Maricopa system in SARA?
Thank you, Peter. So you're correct. A few years back, when, for those of you who may not know what the SARA is there are new regulations that keep states, colleges within states, to offer online instruction to students from other states unless the other states give some sort of permission to the state that will deliver the instruction to serve their students. So there was some national work done, and in our region, it was led by the WICHE organization, which is the Western Interinstitutional Council for Higher Education. And they led what has now been called SARA. There are many regulations. It is expensive to do that because you have to kind of get permission state by state. So a lot of resources go into that. When that decision was made, I want to say maybe about a year and a half, 2 years ago, we looked at the data and we looked at where are the students from out of state taking their courses primarily. And at the time, may not be the same now, I think it was closer to 90% of the out-of-state students were accessing online through Rio Salado. So we decided that we, meaning the Chancellor's Executive Council, Dr. Glasper obviously was the Chancellor at the time, and the college president, that the comprehensive application, the effort, and the amount of money that was required to do that made sense to have Rio Salado, the primary provider of online instruction, be the SARA institution, because it was a cost in time and money for other colleges when they have very, very few students at the time. So what we have said now is if there is a unique program at any other college that has the potential to be offered and marketed nationwide, that the beginning of the conversation should be with Rio Salado that already has this structure and already has all of the permissions that are necessary to offer that. So it's not necessarily keeping colleges from pursuing that, but it's being very thoughtful about how we do it because it's not easy and it is very costly to do it. And it wouldn't make sense to say, well, let's allow everyone to do it when the numbers of students were not there. They were only at Rio Salado. That's how the decision was made. Again, Peter, it doesn't mean that we wouldn't be reconsidering it now, but those are the reasons why that decision occurred about 2 years ago.
Good afternoon, Dr. Harper-Marinick.
Hello.
I'm Meredith Warner. I'm the interim vice president right here at Phoenix College of Student Affairs. My question is more political.
Okay.
So last year, I was fortunate enough to go to Governor Ducey's State of the State in Mesa. And this week, I was fortunate to go to Mayor Stanton's State of the City. In both instances, the references to Maricopa Community College were noticeably absent. I will say that Stanton did recognize the Maricopa Foundation, so we appreciated that at our table. But to sit there for an hour as they both recognized all of the four-year institutions, public and private, in our state, and noticeably omitted the Maricopa Community Colleges from their talks, left a very empty feeling in my, head and heart. What do you see as your role as Chancellor to influence that in the future?
Well, I was there too. And some of my table partners said we were avoiding eye contact with you because we could see the smoke coming out of your ears. I felt the same way. I mean, I was counting, and one of our dear partners, public institution, I believe, received about 10 mentions. And you're right, we were mentioned once, and it was related to the Hope Academy that will be on the property of South Mountain Community College, and we just had the groundbreaking ceremony not too long ago. That was the one time specifically that was mentioned. So immediately I made a note, and I said, I think that we need to find out who makes decisions about what is said. He mentioned once, but we were not mentioned by the head of the chamber either. So I made a note on the back of a receipt, actually. I didn't have a notepad with me, just to say I'm going to have to reach out and understand how that happens. Remember, when I started, I said one of the things that I would like to see is that the Maricopa system is top of mind, not that something happens, we're not mentioned, you make a phone call, people apologize. I don't want to have to make that phone call. So clearly, work needs to be done. So what I would do, were I to be the chancellor, as I said earlier, is just to reach out and get out and have a candid conversation and say, what is it that we're not doing that leads to people not thinking of us? When they're talking about the innovation district, and they were talking about partnerships, and they were talking about middle skills training, and that's our space. So I acknowledge your feelings because I felt exactly the same way.
Good day,
Hello.
Dr. Harper Marinek. My name is Marty Welter. I'm a faculty here at Phoenix College and also a Wellness Maricopa representative. And I heard you say you like two-part questions.
That's okay.
This one's bordering almost on three parts.
I got the training already, yeah.
It's good. Put you on the hot seat. Being that Maricopa is self-funded as far as insurance, I wanted to find out what is your vision for the future of Wellness Maricopa employee well-being, and do you believe in an initiative to have a student wellness program to help with retention? And then the second part was, in light of the recent publication in the Republic, there may be some fear of spending monies towards wellness initiatives, you know, the $140 massages. How would you mitigate this as far as promoting wellness for our employees?
Thank you. I think any healthy institution needs to have a clear plan for wellness. So you mentioned insurance and the expense of insurance. Well, if we're healthy people and if we have balanced lives, then we wouldn't need to worry about spending more money in insurance to deal with illnesses and stress and all of that. So that commitment from Maricopa to offer opportunities for employees to engage in wellness activities is long-standing. I wouldn't see changing that. Like anything else, if we have to revisit certain things because of cost, I'm not aware that our wellness programs are highly expensive. I'm not aware that what they do for employees is not worth the expense. But I would need to look into that because, to be quite honest with you, that's not an area that I've had a lot of involvement in the past. But I do want people to know that we do believe that healthy lives lead to productive lives. And employees coming to work with the right attitude and the right level of energy, and that's not going to happen unless we support their wellnesses, their wellness programs. In terms of the article on the cost, that has not led to a conversation about, oh, let's look at all wellness programs and eliminate them. But it did lead to, we perhaps need to be a little bit more judicious in how we choose to spend the money. Was there another part to the question? The students, I think we should do that. I mean, I don't know why we're not. And I think we should probably engage, I'm looking at Liz, I don't know, the people here that would maybe want to, maybe yourself, lead that initiative, or what does that, I'm not sure what that looks like, but I'm certainly open to say, just as we provide opportunities for employees, there's no reason why we shouldn't engage the students in that. So I welcome your ideas. Thank you. Oh, wait a minute, there was someone in the back. She's been waiting for a while. Go ahead.
Good afternoon. I'm Rebecca, and I'm a student here at PC, and I'm currently taking a class called Leadership Development. And it's a question more out of curiosity than actual inquiry. But what are you doing to contribute to your growth and development as a leader?
That's a good question. I am a very reflective person. Every day, that's my driving time. When I'm driving, I drive a lot. I think about 350 miles a week. And that is my thinking time, that's my reflection time. I think of decisions I've made, and I think of what I would do differently the next time if it's a decision that did not lead to the outcomes that I expected. I am a reader. I read anything at any time. I am also a student of people, and I read about strong leaders. I may not agree with their philosophy, I may not agree with what they're doing, but if they are influencing other people in a major way, I study them because I want to know what that is. You know, what is what does it take for a person to be so influential, even though I may not like, again, what I'm hearing or what they're saying. So I do that quite a bit. And then I have great colleagues and mentors and people that I learned with. I have a life outside of work, and I think that's healthy because it helps me balance who I am. I am a whole person, not just a person at the Maricopa colleges. So spending time with my family and spending time with people I respect and admire makes me a better person, and that makes me a more effective leader. Thank you for your question.
Good afternoon. I'm Mike Newman. I'm a custodian here at Phoenix College, and I'm on the EBAC and PACS committee. And I'm wondering, considering the issues facing us with the health insurance costs and the budget problems and that, obviously the Chancellor can't increase resources, but the Chancellor will have to educate the governing board. How do you see yourself interacting with the governing board?
Thank you, Mike, and thank you for your service on all those councils for many years. I know you've been very instrumental in many of the decisions that we've made. I already interact with the board. I had the privilege of working closely with our governing board members, even as the executive vice chancellor and provost since 2010. What I believe is I don't see the governing board members as one unit, one person. I see them as individual people, and I like to take my time to get to know them as people so that I understand their thinking and I understand their foundation and their beliefs so that what questions they have of me make more sense to me. So I spend time doing that, and in that interaction, there's also some education both ways. I can educate about what we are, what we need to do, and then they educate back in terms of through their questions and through their comments. So all I see were I to be the chancellor is strengthening the relationships that have already started. Some of them longer than others because we know we have some board members that I've known for 6 years, some other ones just about a year. But my goal is to, remember when I said before, I like to listen to the stories so that I understand the person behind the story. I apply that same philosophy to our governing board members. Thank you, Mike.
Hi there, I'm monitoring the email account we set up for this event here. And a question came in that asks, what do you believe are the 3 greatest challenges facing Maricopa today, and how will the One Maricopa vision address this challenge?
Thank you. I think a clear challenge is the financial conditions. I think everyone knows that we've moved from 3 primary sources of funding to 2 primary sources of funding. And I personally do not believe that increasing tuition and property taxes every time is a wise choice. We're supposed to keep our colleges affordable and as low a tuition as possible. So we are going to have to work very hard as a system to do a couple of things, and my second one is connected to what I'm saying now. So enrollment has gone down in the system with the exception of 2 of the colleges. I believe the only college that has grown every semester, I just learned today, for 14 years, minus 1 semester, is Estrella Mountain in the west side, because that's where growth is. So we're going to have to take a serious look at what else do we need to do, not doing more of the same, because more of the same is not leading to more enrollment. So we need to look at new ways of, or new populations to attract to the system. We are going to need the enrollment because that is a main source of resources. And life as usual moving forward is not going to work. So enrollment and finances, and then our metrics to meet the governing board outcomes. I think we've done, I said that earlier, great progress in the last few years in terms of how many students, many more students are completing, achieving their goals, getting certificates, and all of the above. But it's not enough. I think that we need to continue to focus on what can we do as a system to make sure the students stay with us, they maintain the momentum. Many of them step out. When you step out, it's really hard to step back in. So what can we do to make sure that even if it's 1 class at a time, our students stay, our students complete, and our students get a job that leads to financial independence, which is the goal that we all have. And then the third part of this is how do we maintain, enhance, improve what we do to help more students be ready for college, and that's what we call developmental education. I think we need to continue to find ways to reform and do more for those students. Statistics that I think all of us know, if we get students who need developmental education in more than 1 or 2 courses, the likelihood that those students will stay, get college-level courses, get a degree, get a certificate, and move on is very, very low. Nationwide, it's 10%. So I do spend a lot of time thinking about what else can we do, because our students need to have access to developmental courses and support services. The question is, what do we need to do differently that will yield to different results? So those will be 3 areas that are interconnected. Obviously, if you don't get out of developmental ed, you're not going to go into college level, you're not going to be retained, you're not persisting, and you're not completing. So it's all connected, but we need resources to do all of the above.
Thank you. Thank you. And I think we have time for 1 more question. Are there any other questions? Thank you.
Anne?
Yes, as president of the Maricopa Community College retirees and also an alumnus of the college, and I noticed a question here about alumni, we obviously think that we have contributed a lot to the organization over many, many years. We have thousands of years of experience here in the district, and I guess our question is, how do you plan to incorporate those plans and getting feedback to you in terms of what went right for us and what didn't work so well for us? And that might be the same as far as alumni concerned. How do you plan on getting feedback to you, to the office, to the various constituencies that would need to hear what our concerns are? And how do we then help you be able to do the job that you're doing? Obviously, alumni are very, very capable. Certainly retirees, many of them wish to stay in service. Many of them don't. Looking around the audience, I don't see a lot of retirees, but believe me, you'll get there someday. And life is wonderful outside if you have something, if you're still connected to it. we're still connected and care about this district, and so are the alumni. What are your plans for helping us get information back to you?
Thank you, we've had this conversation before because I've been supportive of the association in the past, and we've talked about how do we align what the all of the wonderful people who have retired from the system want to offer back to the system. And so there are opportunities to connect with the college presidents and connect with the locations where the services are most needed, which wouldn't be obviously the Chancellor's office, so that we can take advantage of all the talent that is willing to contribute to the colleges. But I think in terms of communication there are many ways that we can communicate. We meet, we can contribute through the newsletter, we can invite you to be presenting at the Chancellor's Executive Council or present at the Governing Board meeting. So there are many ways where that communication can go from us to the organization and from all of those of you leading the organization back to us. What we shouldn't do is keep our ideas to ourselves, because then we're not going to make any progress. But I am very willing to hear your ideas of how we can better reach out and give all of you an opportunity to get engaged in the system and provide support. Hello.
Hello, thank you so much for taking my question. I'm BJ Roberts. I'm the Student Success Coach at South Mountain Community College. Lovely to meet you. You mentioned earlier that you're looking at ideas and ways in which we can assist with the decline in enrollment and reaching out to our students and getting them motivated and keeping them through the process of completing a degree. One suggestion is investing and supporting the role of student success coaches, as I'm one. They have done a lot of work, and I know that there's metrics that go along with that to demonstrate how well we're able to connect with students, especially those who are in those developmental courses, which is kind of an at-risk situation for a lot of students, especially those who are returning students. So do you have any of the ideas or ways in which you can look at supporting those elements, those programmings that are already in place within the district, and how that can be maybe developed and grown further?
Thank you for that question. Well, we have, just as the success coaches are doing a great job, thank you for doing that, we have mentors, we have all kinds of programs. What we haven't done as well, in my opinion, is learn from each other, so that we are not every college starting a new innovative program that actually already has worked or not worked somewhere else. So we need to improve how we communicate and how we replicate the program, so it will be actually less expensive to replicate something that works than to start something new that takes research and a pilot phase and all of that. So I'm encouraging, I see at least one college president in the audience, to engage in that conversation, and that's not just the responsibility of the college president, but she happens to be right in front of me, to encourage them to have that conversation and bring the right people to the table to replicate the things that we're doing well. I am a firm believer that in addition to talented, competent, engaged faculty in the classroom, we need people like you. We need more advisors. We need more counselors. We need more tutors. We need mentors. And we understand that for many of our students, the classroom experience alone is not going to lead to success. But thank you for your question.
Thank you, everyone who posed questions. We are out of time for the Q&A session, and now we will ask Dr. Harper-Marinick to close. You'll have about 3 minutes to do that. Thank you.
Thank you. I think I'll close the way I started. I have devoted my professional life to what I believe is an amazing system. I don't go anywhere nationally when I speak about what we do in Maricopa without people coming up and say, oh my God, you are from the Maricopa system. So we need to preserve the things that we do well, and we need to be ready for change. Some things we have innovative about, other things we're still doing, quite frankly, the same way we were doing them when I came in 1991. So at some point, we need to have the courage to say, enough of that worked then, it doesn't work now. And I believe I have the knowledge of the system, I have the right expertise because of my background in research and data analysis. And actually, I started in the classroom, so teaching too. That I am known as a person who takes action, that I am innovative, I am a risk taker. I am not irresponsible about it. I am a responsible risk taker. I am very supportive of the work that everyone in the organization does. And I think I have demonstrated throughout my years with Maricopa that I have the courage to make the right decisions, and by the way, stick with my right decisions and lead everyone to get motivated along with me to do the right work for the students. We have a responsibility to the community. We owe it to the thousands of students that make incredible sacrifices every morning to come to our colleges. To them, we owe the best education, excellent services, the right attitude, a safe environment, and I hope I can be the leader that communicates and demonstrates that all of the above is possible if we keep in mind why we exist every morning, to serve the community. I appreciate the opportunity. I appreciate the opportunity the governing board has given me to lead for the last, 7 weeks. And I appreciate the questions and the fact that you took the time to be here today. And for those of you listening, for sending your questions via email. As I told the students, I will tell you, I am very accessible. So if you have a question, if you have a suggestion, if you have a criticism, you can send me an email, and it will not be ignored. So thank you very much.
Thank you again, Dr. Harper-Marinick, and thank you again for sharing your time with us this afternoon for this very important decision. As a reminder, there is a link to the feedback form online. It is www.maricopa.edu/finalist-feedback. Please be sure to complete the form. It is also mobile device friendly. We will compile all of the feedback, which is confidential. We'll compile that and provide it to the governing board for their consideration. Thank you again. Drive safely.